Hey gang, I'm Billy Pop, and this is the second part of Slasher Months, here on Rotting Flesh. The Chucky series, of course. This film was made in 1998 by Ronnie Yu. Yes, the man who molested, raped, and mutilated Freddy vs. Jason. He wasn't a fan of those franchises, so I highly doubt he's a fan of the Chucky franchise. Anyways, I'm talking of course about Bride of Chucky. This movie might have been directed by Ronnie Yu, but it was also still written by Don Mancini. It also still stars Brad Dourif, and his bride is played by the wonderful actress Jennifer Tilly. We also get a cameo by the dead but legendary John Ritter. This movie starts off in the police department evidence room. This room is filled with other masks and weapons from different slashers from the 80s. However, the props look a little cheap. A police officer walks in and smuggles a small black garbage bag out of the building. He's on the phone with a woman who sounds kind of sexy and devilish. He tells her not to forget his money, as she is planning on purchasing what is inside the small black garbage bag. When he reaches his destination, he attempts to look inside the bag. Too bad for him, the woman comes through the window of the driver's seat and slits his throat. She then reaches inside the bag and pulls out a mutilated Chucky from the last movie and immediately gets turned on.
Well, hello, Dolly.
Turns out the woman is Chucky's former ex-girlfriend, Tiffany, which blows my mind because I thought Chucky was into kids. Anyway, she finds some foreign doll parts and stitches our little buddy back together, while the audience listens to Rob Zombie. Now, for the first time, they don't have to try and make Chucky look cool at the end of the movie, because he already looks really badass. Meanwhile, we are also introduced by the two main characters, I guess you could say. I really like how the movie's called Bride of Chucky, but Brad Dourif doesn't even make it into the main credits of the intro. Anyway, Jesse and Jade want to be together, but Jade's uncle hates Jesse. Aww, it's a love story within a love story. Aww. They have a friend named David who's super gay. He tries to trick Jade's uncle into thinking that him and Jade are dating, but he's very obviously gay, so it doesn't work. Back at Tiffany's trailer, she tries to resurrect Chucky with a Voodoo for Dummies book. Really? But she has beautiful eyes.
Give me the power, I beg of you.
She doesn't think it works until Chucky goes missing when some Marilyn Manson reject comes over.
You know what the French call an orgasm? Le petit morte.
Yeah, that guy isn't fucking weird. Now, Tiffany finds Chucky and the crow makes fun of his wiener. I was so happy to hear Chucky's response.
It ain't the size that counts, asshole. It's what you do with it.
Which is what I would have done if somebody would have made fun of my tiny penis. I mean cock, not penis. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted to be a big man. Something about this is really fucking weird.
Come here.
Chucky being sexual is super fucked up. I guess it's not like it's Andy Barclay. So we get a couple scenes where Chucky and Tiffany are being cute. Did you know Chucky's favorite meal is Swedish meatballs? So friggin' important to the plot, isn't it? So they end up getting in a domestic dispute because Tiff thought Chucky was going to marry her because he left a ring somewhere before he was shot. Tiffany bought a crib for their children and everything. Chucky's response makes sense though, being how they're both, murderers.
What are you, fucking nuts?
Rude fucking doll.
Tiff gets pissed off and locks him in the crib, which really makes Chucky not look scary at all.
Is the little baby ticklish? Is he?
Okay, I get it.
Anyway, it turns out Jesse lives in the same trailer park as Tiffany. Now, it would be great if Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles were there too, but sadly that's just too genius for this movie. Tiffany gets Jesse to help remove Danny Filth Wannabe's corpse into the trunk of her car, and I just realized that she put the body in the trunk and then put the trunk in a trunk. Oh, and it turns out that Jesse's kind of a pussy, because he looks like he's in shape, but he can't even lift a little skinny goth kid. No offense to my goth friends. I actually was one in high school when I was still skinny. as ashamed of that as I am. Anyway, Tiffany comes home with a doll dressed as a bride to taunt Chucky. I'm actually kind of impressed at how not worried she would be that he's in like just a wooden cage. Like he could break out. Chucky eventually escapes captivity and pushes a TV into Tiffany's bath. And without needing a Voodoo for Dummies book, he puts her soul into the doll that she taunted him with. However, Tiffany finally did what no one else would. Just saying. So Chucky and Tiffany decide to work together, otherwise they're going to be stuck as dolls for good. They need to go to New Jersey to get the Heart of Dembala, which is an amulet Chucky was wearing the day his corpse was buried. To be honest, I don't really remember ever hearing about this before. I don't know if I did or not, but I think it kind of breaks the rules a bit, doesn't it? So after Tiffany turns into a doll that I feel like I would probably fuck. Hey, fuck you. It's a hot Cabbage Patch Kid. They hatch a plan to get Jesse to deliver the doll to a cemetery in New Jersey. They tell him that they'll pay him $1,000. Mind you, this is over the phone. They didn't just walk up and ask, of course. Jesse convinces Jade to get married.
Oh, that's so romantic.
I give him 6 months. 3 if she gains weight.
Before they leave, Jade's uncle plants weed in their van. And something bad happens to him, but I don't want to ruin the good parts. So this dick cop that works for Jade's uncle ends up trying to bust them for the dope, in which he does. But Chucky makes a scene that makes Jesse and Jade look guilty as fuck, especially because they flee the scene of the crime. It involves arson of a pig's car, and the pig. Who likes piggy puffs? Or how about ham? Or roasted pork? Or a pig roast? Sorry to any cops that watch my channel, but did you get beat up too much in high school or something? Why the hell would you want to be a cop? By the way, this situation also makes Jesse and Jade not trust each other at all. But they get married anyway, so sounds like monogamy these days to me. As their relationship is in shambles, Chucky and Tiffany become closer. When the newlyweds go get a honeymoon suite, they find out that, while watching the news, that they're both wanted murderers. They both have trouble feeling as though they can't trust each other, though, still. So the dolls get married and have sex. I'm surprised there's no tentacle porn. And that wasn't racist, as if it didn't cross your mind, too. In the middle of the night, both Jesse and Jade call their friend David to rat on each other. David intelligently tells them to go to the police. However, the next day, housekeeping finds some new victims in another suite that Jesse and Jade, same hotel and all that. And that's when Jesse and Jade decide to confront each other and tell each other that they don't want to go on because they both think the other one's a killer. But it's okay, because David shows up, and he helps them see the light. Until he finds the corpse of Jade's dead uncle in the van. Then to make things worse, Chucky and Tiffany pop out and reveal themselves. So Chucky and Tiffany inform the lovebirds that they plan on taking over their bodies once they find Chucky's skeleton. Then you know what happens to David? Ooh! But it turns out somehow Chucky's human fingerprints were found at all the crime scenes, so now the cops are digging him up. So they hijack a recreational vehicle so the cops don't recognize their heat score van, which I gotta say sticks out like a purple cock. So anyway, Jesse and Jade trick Chuck and Tiffany into a distraction fight, and then they crash the motorhome. They make it to the graveyard where Charles Lee Ray, or Chucky's, body has been dug up already by the cops. So he gets Jade to crawl in and get the amulet. Needless to say, Chucky and Tiffany get into a doll brawl, which looks fucking ridiculous. Right before the credits roll, Tiffany gives birth to an ugly baby. It's fucked. So the direction here wasn't very good, guys. There's great lighting and the sets were okay at best, but there was nothing special to look at. Most of it was shot in places that were probably free to shoot at. And shots weren't inventive, and many cuts were very, very sudden. All in all, it feels like someone without a vision's first movie. The writing, on the other hand, wasn't bad for a trick that's trying to take a horror movie and make it into like a horror comedy. They did, however, do what I didn't want them to do, and that's turn Chucky into a comedic horror icon like Freddy. The story was alright, but it wasn't exactly what I expect from a Chucky movie. It wasn't even trying to be intelligent. Well, at least not in my opinion. And it was also trying to be a parody, kind of like Scream. I don't know, I don't hate it, but it wasn't what I would have done. The acting was done reasonably well. Jen Tilly and Brad Dourif were great at bouncing off of each other. John Ritter should have had a bigger part. The rest of the cast really could have been played by anyone. And the characters were about the same. The dialogue was decent. The music was good, mainly because there was enough Rob Zombie to make me smile. Score-wise, it's kind of boring. The effects on the dolls were actually really good. I like Chucky's new look, too. Also, the animatronics were like leaps and bounds better than the original trilogy. And there wasn't very much CGI, if any at all. All in all, can I recommend Bride of Chucky? Well, I wanted more from it, honestly. When I first watched it, I thought it was awesome. But in the end, it just feels too different from the Child's Play trilogy. It made me wonder why they got the man who directed this to make Freddy vs. Jason. In the end, I can recommend it to Chucky fans, though. I give it a 5 out of 10. It's watchable, but out of the 6 movies in the franchise, it's like my 5th favorite, and it could be avoided. Plus, Chucky is a kid at the end. There's no way to follow that up, like, in a good way. Oh, fuck no. Thank you for watching, guys. I guess I'll do what all the other people on YouTube do and tell you not to forget to do something like comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, if you really wanted to, you would. So, you know what? Just be yourself. See you next time if you do, though. That Midget Production.